Hello everyone, this is John from 3D Create Tutorials and super excited to bring you some really fun stuff today on creating decals in plasticity. A lot of people don't realize that this is definitely a possibility and very easy to do. And so I'm going to show some examples of that. I'm also going to show some of my packs that I've actually got on Gumroad that are available, as well as some of these decals. So I'll have a link down below after creating all this if you want to check them out. Just go right to the links and it'll be at Gumroad and Superhive. So here we go. So let's get started. All right, so first of all, I'm going to go to my import. This is the same thing you do if you actually get the packs. You can import append and you can download the actual things that you might use. And there's different sections. There's a common cutter. There is a bolts. There is super cutters. There's a wedge cutter. And then there's also kit ops 1 and 2, which is different forms and stuff that I've created in the past. So I'm going to bring this in to show you kind of what this is all about. So I'm bringing this in, importing it. And you'll see these are quite a bit bigger. This is kind of the different forms that you'll be getting if you download this. Basically different type of cutters, different forms. It's real easy stuff that you can always do, of course, yourself, but you don't want to spend the time making all this stuff you're on your own and saving it. This is one way to get it real quick and easy. And again, I'm going to continue to update this with new stuff all the time. And this is just a real quick way to kind of get some stuff done. So these are your main cutters. Also have wedges and other things as well, and screws. So here we go. So what I'm going to do here is now work on the actual simple decal. So let's get that started. So I'm just going to get rid of this. And we're going to start from the top view. Now this is the secret. It's a simple thing to do. All you need to do really is start off with a line form, whether it be a rectangle, square, circle, or octagon, or triangle. Any of those things all work. Or you can even use the lines to create your forms. I'm going to use this with the center section here. I'm going to bring this out to right about here. So basically what this is doing is that you are exactly on the 0, 0 axis, and that's what you need when you're creating a decal. And when you bring this back into Blender, it's exactly where you need it. So it doesn't have any issues with that setup to make it simple and an easy understanding. So here we go. So let's go and select the actual face selection here. I'm going to select this and just bring this down a couple. And the snaps is on, so it's fine. Take this off for now. Now, this is like your main form of the actual from the top down. And we can now go in and just kind of adjust some things. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create another form within this form just to make this kind of a little bit more funner. And to do that, I could just use another disk if I want. I could do so many different things to make this happen, but I'm just going to make it real simple and create something like this. And I'm going to create another one, just make it even that much easier to create a form like this. And what we can do now is we can just take this and just kind of extrude it down into the space like that. And then we can actually select this here, and we select this here, and we can just do the Q. And that will get us started with a nice form. So now we got that done. I'm going to go here and just delete this one and delete this one. So what we can also do here is we could start creating some nice forms. So I'm select both of these, make this nice and smooth. And I'm going to now work on this. So I'm going to create more of a bevel or a chamfer effect. And I'll go with that for now. Another thing we can do here is kind of just form all the edges so it's nice and smooth. So I'm going to bring that out, bring this out. The trick is to always have edges that are smooth or on edge, just to give it a nice, area to capture when it's actually doing this axis right here on the Z. If you can see the edges, you're going to see that on your decal. Basically, is kind of how it works. So now that we got this kind of formed, I'm going to start adding some more details to this. So this is basically one of the actual items. This is like one textured item. You can do really 3 in total. when you make a decal with Decal Master. And it's basically, you're going to have two different types of colors, and you can use an emission for the third, just to keep that in mind. So this is going to start off with, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to cut this thing out into the middle here. And I'm going to just make it simple. I'm going to take the face here and extrude this down with the E key. And I'm basically going to cut this out. I don't want it to, I want it to be its own form. So I'm going to select this one and this one. I'm going to do a Q and then a Shift Q and say, okay. So what I've done there is I've actually created another form with this form. So if you kind of look at this, this is its own entity. It's not part of this. So now that I got this, I can go back in here and just kind of give some more variations. So we can give it a nice edge here, like that. And we can do something like this. Again, this is going to be a very simple tutorial. I just want to get people to understand that these things are possible and very easy to do. So let's go ahead and form this, make it a little bit smoother. Again, you can have as much detail as you want. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to cost you anything because it is a actual decal. Keep that in mind. It's just an image that we're creating. You can use this again for cutters and things. Another option that we can do. But for now, I'm just going ahead and select the actual surface tool here. I'm going to create two different surfaces, basically. Let me hit the M key here. And I want this to be kind of a little bit darker gray. And I'm just doing this to make it easier for later. Hit OK. This one here, again, I'm going to hit the M key. And I'm going to make this just a little bit darker, not too much. I'm also going to make this more of a metal. So in here, I'm going to bring this up. And I'm going to bring the roughness down. I want this to be shiny. I'm good with that for now. This one here, hit M key, go back here. I'm going to make this more of a metal too. And roughness can go down. Again, if it clicks off, go ahead and click it again. Let's bring this down. The lower it goes, the more shiny it becomes. And we can see what this kind of looks like, as a sense. Okay, so there we go. So that's that. So basically, like I was talking about earlier, I got these cutters that are real simple to use. So you can download them if you get the package, which comes with decals as well as these forms. So anyway, I'm just going to show kind of the options that we can do with this stuff. So this is, for instance, one object, right? So if I go back to the top view here, I could hit the G key and just move this into place. And of course, it's too big, right? So that's fine. We can bring it down just a little bit. I'm going to scale this down quite a bit. So I'm going to bring it like right over here. I'll hit the G key again, bring it down, kind of get it right into the space. And we could kind of see what we're doing here. We could actually make it more of here. I can actually go to the top view and rotate it because it's going to be right on top of this. So I can make it 90 degrees. So I'm going to just type it in, make it simple, hit enter. And now what I can do is I got this form, it's going in. And it's just a simple form, right? Which is fine. We could also do something that's a little bit interesting. We can hit the G key, we can move it into the space like this. So it creates a nice wedge right there. And this way it'll have a nice cut all around, right? So this is one easy way to use these type of cutters. So we can do this. We can hit the radio array, hit the center here, and we created a form, right? So we can actually add more if we want, or whatever we want. It's very easy to use, and it's just simple. So I'm created this to make it easy for myself, and if anybody wants to take advantage of this, it's just an easy way to do things. So I'm going to select this first. Make sure you get the main object selected, right? I'm going to turn this to the side, and now I'm going to hit the Shift key and pull this down just like that. And hit the Q key, and now we're going to cut these sections out just like that. So simple to do. It's just easy, easy, easy. So what I would do now is I would go ahead and create a nice bevel on these to give it a nice edge flow. So hit the Alt key, Alt key, Alt key. You can go anywhere you want here. I'm going to basically do both sides of this. Sometimes it's better to get in a little closer. let's see here. If I go here, and if I pull this, if it gets the whole thing, you're good. Yeah, it does. So we're good. As long as the form is tight and it's, smooth all around, you're good to go. So let's do this again. Alt key. Let's just go around. Alt. Basically, what I'm doing is just adding more of these sections together. So I can do one form to actually do a nice fillet on. This is just a real easy way to work on things in this program. Almost done. Okay, so now we can hit the B key and we can actually start pulling this out. I want to make this nice and smooth. Something like that, I think looks good. And there we go. It's that simple to create that form. So a few more things, like I was discussing with everybody, is that I kind of want to add in a nice emission as well, since I'm going to go through the effort of doing this. And one way we can do this is we just use the actual circle again. We'll bring this out. I'm going to create something right about there. And I'm now going to use this line here to create a nice section to cut into. So we're going to use, another way to do this is just use, actually, we can go to the side view here. Take that back. I'm just going to go to the side. And I want this to kind of be light on the line there. I'm going to use another disk. I'm just going to pick it right about there and about there. And the reason I'm doing this is because I didn't get the right line. So let me delete this. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to try to get right here, just like this. See how it kind of is formed here? Now if I select this here, I can use this to pull around and not have, if you do a pipe, you're going to have a hole in it and stuff. It's just easier this way for me. So I'm going to do an actual, a resolve, and we just pick right down the center here and pull it up. There we go, done. That's simple, right? Now what I can do with this is I can go here and I could just cut this with this. So go ahead and hit Shift. We're going to do Q key, and we're going to keep tool. The reason for that is so we can actually continue to manipulate this with this. I'm going to hit this again, G key. I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. And this time I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit this again, Q key. It still kept its keep, which is good. There we go. So now we can get rid of this line here. And we got this nice form inside here. Now, one nice thing about this is that we can just bring it in a little bit more if we want. I'll just bring it down like that. I want to kind of have a nice edge effect into the blend of the actual nice light. And now that I got this, I'm going to also create another, basically a nice form right here. I'm going to do a nice form here as well. This time I'm going to go with more of a chamfer. And we can go back and select both of these again, pull this out on the plus, just to give it a nice form, just like that. And now I could select this one here and just do an M key, and we can make this more of a bright color of some sort. Might just use green for now, just to give it some thought, is what we're doing here. Okay, so simple, 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 very easy to do. And again, I can go crazy with this. I can do a lot more. And, a good example of what I mean by that is, okay, so we had all these tools here. Now, if I want to go in, I can just delete this because, again, it's a folder that has everything. And you can always download it. It's always going to be on Gumroad. But if I want to go in here now and add something else, let's say, for instance, I want to go in here and say import. This time I'm going to do the bolts and cutters and things like that. So just common cutters, the G key, F key, center of this, G key, escape, G key, Z key, and we're just going to go right in like that. Okay, now select this, Q key, and we can hit OK, and we can now select this and delete it. They're very simple to do. And we can make this either soft or hard, whatever makes sense. I'll go with that. And same with this, I want to make sure I have a nice form. Again, the more edges you have, the more it just stands out as a nice, section. So we'll go with that for now. Okay, so that's simple. So I'm going to show this the basic method of converting this to a OBJ file. I don't want to go through the other process, but I personally like OBJ myself, just going through this process. I just feel it's easier for myself. So there's other ways to do this, of course. But anyway, for now, I'm going to select all these here. I'm going to go back to the top here. I'm going to say export. And I'm going to call this Decal. Decal 4. And I'll say save. And again, comes with tries. I want to go with ingots. I want as much detail as I possibly can to make this as smooth as I can. It doesn't cost you anything other than the time to set it up to make it nice and smooth. So there we go. Everything is nice and smooth. I went with 100. I go with ingots. And I think I'm good with that. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to take a second to go to convert it. And then we're going back to Blender 4.5. So that's the next step. All right, so now I'm in Blender, and it's going to make this real simple. I'm going to go to the File section here. This is 4.5. And you should already have Decal installed, and I'm not going to go over that whole process. That's something you need to take on your own. And there's a lot of tutorials on how to set it up. But anyway, I'm just going to show you the basics of bringing it in. So Preferences. I don't want to spend a lot of time unless I'm doing a tutorial just on that. So I'm just going to go to the Decal, and as you can see, I'm using Decal Machine, and it is basically 2.142 on this section here. And we're not going to go over that right now, so let's go ahead and escape and close this out. And we're going to go to File, and we're going to import what we just did. So OBJ, and I'm going to make sure that I put the up axis on the Z, because if for some reason on basically Plasticity, it always goes on the Y. It's the Z like it should be actually, but for some reason it goes a different angle. If I just bring it in just the way it is, and then I'm going to go with the Y, so it's kind of like more of this angle. Even though it's a circle, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, here we go. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to go to my drive where I put it. Give me 1 second here. And we're going to call this, it was Decal 4. So let's bring this in. It's 16 megs, which is a good size file, and import. As you see, it's bigger than this box, which is not a big deal. It doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. We can go in here. You might have some changes with it, I guess, when you're doing certain things with texturing and stuff, but for now, I'm not going to worry about that. So let's start with this piece here. I mean, we can do a simple, this shader, go shading, come in here. What I also want to do is I want to make sure I'm actually not on Eevee. I want to go to cycles so I get a nice cleaner. I want to go to GPU. And I'll probably just put this at 600 for rendering. I don't really care about that detail. And I'm going to make sure I put this now on this to get a better understanding. As you can see, you see a lot of smooth lines here. It looks really sharp. It doesn't have any contortions or problems with the model. Sometimes you get that with Blender if you form things wrong. So we're going to start with this. I'm just going to create a basic, nice looking metal color, metal all the way up and roughness down. And I'm going to go something like this. Bring this kind of more to the center here. All right, so now I'm going to go with this one, and I'm going to select this, and I'm going to bring this down a little bit more. And I want this to be kind of more of a centered gray, metal again, roughness down. I want this to be a little bit more blacker than this outer one. And this one here, I could just continue to use the emission here. We can make this a nice green color. We can give it some depth to it. I'll probably go with like 3, something like that. And that's simple as that can get. So got this color, and got this color. So we got 3 colors, right? Now, if I wanted to make another one, I could make more objects within this object and kind of just every other color change it. So instead of this would be black, and this another one would be here and it'd be gray. You know, you can kind of offset things so they're all different colors, even though you're only really allowed 2 colors. At least that's the last I remember it. Maybe it's more now, but anyway, here we go. So got this all set up and ready to go. Okay, so I'm in here now, and I'm going to go to the layout section here, and we have it all set up, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull this out. Let's see what I'm doing. I'm going to go to the actual file, bring this to the right tone. I'm going to go to, we could change the colors all we want. Once we do this once, it could just change those 3 colors. You just got to add different materials within your scene. We're going to go to machine 3. This is the Decal Machine. And we're going to go and select this plus here, and we're going to create 2 times or 4 times. You know, a lot of times I'll test with 2 times first, and then I'll go with a higher. I normally go with 1024, so I get the nicest resolution I can. Unless it's going to be a really, really small image, and I would go with even 256 or 128, depending if it's a small screw or something like that. That way it doesn't have a lot of bearing on the size of the mapping. But for now, I'm just going to continue. I'm going to do more of these exercises and communications on decals if people are interested. So I'm going to go with 4 times, and I'll pause the video when I create this. But I'm going to create it. I'm going to put it in my own folder, of course. But for now, before I do any of that stuff, I'm going to do save as. I'm going to call this decal 4, so I don't have to go backwards again if something goes wrong. And we're going to say save. Okay, now we're done that. I don't need a background. I don't need anything for the decal. It's really just an image that we're creating. So I'm going to make sure that this is last, though. That's always something you got to keep in mind. So I'm going to select this one, and then this one. This is the right way to do it. I'm going to bake an emission. I'm going to use balanced light, which is fine. We can go 2048. I think that would be a nice looking light. I'm going to go with AO 512. I go pretty high on everything I do, so it just has a much cleaner look. And then inspect bakes. So I think we're good with the boundary, and we can go with this. So let's go ahead and do it again. Create subset decal. And I'll pause it for now and be back. All right, so now we got the image, and here it is. As you can see, there's a lot of other stuff to this, but I'm just going to take this here and basically hide it, hide this, and hide that. Now we have a nice, emission light as well as everything else. So this is what we got, is this shape here. I'm going to hit the plus. I'm going to put this in my own folder. And I'm good with all that. So I'm going to go plus, and I'm going to put it in one of these packs. I think I'll put this in pack 2 is fine. Add decal to library. There we go. So now that I've done that, we can go in and add something to do with this here. So let's go ahead and delete this for now. For some reason, there's another copy here. Not sure why, but anyway, got 2 forms there. So we're just going to do a quick add mesh, do a cube. We're going to go with the edit mode. I'm going to go with edges. I'm going to select these 2 edges here, this one here, and this one here. I'm going to do Control B to make a nice form. I'm going to rotate it probably like 12 times, just like that. And then I'm going to select up here as well, and Control B. Again, we're going to pull this down just a little bit, make it smooth. And I'm good with this. Now I'm going to take this object here, right click, shade smooth. And I'm also going to add in a nice plane, just to make it look nicer. Scale, G key on the Z, down straight. Bring it right to the edge of this. And we could actually do an Alt M. This is kit ops, add blank material, fine. And I could actually go in here now and go to shading. And I can make this a little bit lighter. Something like this. This one I'm doing new. Make this metal roughness, and I'm going to make this more of a color, kind of a bluish color. Maybe a little less rough. And I think I'm good with that as well. Just like this. Okay. So what I can do here is I could also do G, Y, actually X. We're bringing it down to the edge here. Something like this. And I also got click, add light. I'm going to bring it over here. So we can actually add it right here. Sometimes things don't work the way you want them to work. Let's try this again. Right click, add light. There we go. And I'm going to get something right near the edge here, just to give it some nice fall off. I'm going to go ahead and use the Alt key to pull this outward. Just like this. Like that, looks good. I'm going to make this into a rectangle. And then I'm going to go back here and just kind of separate this out. So it has a nice fall off. Okay. So I kind of like this. All right. So now I got this selected. I can go now in here and hit the D key. And the one we just created, we could just bring that in. G, actually escape. Just take this away. We're going to go again, D, this one. And there it goes, it's centered. Now you see the pedal locks is all screwed up there. So we're going to go in here now and actually add in D. We're going to use the project and Alt key at the same time. We're going to pull this out and then let it go. Now the pedal locks is definitely not right here, so I'm going to hit the D again. I'm going to hit the adjust. I'm going to hit D again, and this will help with the parallax. So you can really control the amount of parallax just by hitting the D. Now I want to have a little bit of depth to it. I think that overall looks really nice. And what I could do here is we can always go in and hit D again. I could go to match, and I could do the actual S key, D key, and then I have to hit the shift key here to kind of change this. So let's say I want to make this a nice darker color, but I want to make everything else a little bit lighter. I can go now in here again, D, match. And this time I'm going to actually rotate this around. Something like that. And the emission is already in here, which is the, I think we can just bring that up if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I used this, but I'm going to go with a nice green like that. And then I'm going to start bringing this up. Actually, that doesn't work. It's only for, I'm going to get the right thing here. Oh, here we go. So if I select the emission here, that's the one right there. We can go in here on the bottom now, see how it's kind of right here. And then we can actually, I think that's just overpowering everything. I'll put that at 0. I think this one here, I think all we got to do is actually just select it. So for instance, if I go in here and just say, let me just make sure this is on Cycles GPU. I'm going to also do compositing. I'm going to go ahead and save. So that way everything's set up. I'm also going to go compositing. And I can change some of the emission. Go ahead and use nodes. And we can also, actually it's all set up. Let me just do, I need to do this first. We're going to go glare image. And we'll go here. Actually, I don't want glare, not that one. Glare, G. We'll just go simple streaks, just like this. And the image is there and the image is here. So there we go. Now we can go in, bring this up a little bit more if I want to. Let's do like 5. Boom. And first thing we want to do though is go back in, go to layout, and I'm going to render this now. So we got this set up, and I'm going to go ahead and hit the Control, Alt, and 0. Bring the camera into close. G key, X. Bring this back a little bit. G. Okay, I kind of went with a nicer green. I think that was going to look nicer. And I'll probably add one more light. So we can add like, say, with the new version, it's really cool. We can do a spotlight, do G, X, bring it out a little bit. We can make this into a nice effect. So I could do something like a nice green, and I can bring up the power a little bit. And I could do G key on the Z a little bit like this, G on the Y. And we can do something like this for layout. And we can do here. And I could do basically bring this step to the item. We can do location, insert keyframe. So we're good with that. And then when it goes to like, say 150, we can have this G on the ZXY over here. So let's just do this. See, it's a nice, let's see what we got. We got the objects hiding here. Okay, hit render, render image, and there we go. Now that's way too much, so we'll dial that down a little bit. So we're going to go back into compositing, and yeah, you can see this is way too much. I think I'm going to bring that down to like maybe, I think I'll just take this down all the way too much. Something like this would be good. I might go with more of a streaks or ghosting. Nah. Fog glow is nice as well. I think I'll go with that. And just bring this down like that. I think that looks good. And then we can go back into the actual render, hit render image, and there we go. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you have any questions on creating decals and plasticity, please write to me on YouTube. Please thumbs up. I appreciate it. And subscribe. Thank you.